Conservatives are the guardians of Western civilization. How you defend Western civilization? Western civilization is in crisis. The West has given the world amazing ideas and values of Western history and even its culture as an embarrassment of the West's legacy. So let's remember what we are defending here. Not just our wealth, but the West. Millions of people all around the world want to live in the West. However, some of them will undermine the West. We have a crisis, just like the West. Our country is not racist. Our country and all of Western civilization will be lost. Some cultures are better than others. Start fighting for the West.
She's appointed herself, I think, savior of the Western civilization. It's a desperate search for relevance.
Now, how many times are you going to say Western civilization in one speech? You said it too many times. You're trying to get validation from white Britain, essentially, is what you're saying. Or even Western civilization, like you're trying to include yourself in that when you're never going to be from that. You might be British, but you're black British, you're black African descendant with British status. Keir Starmer basically had to point it out and say, look, you're doing too much now, innit? He said, you're doing too much now, innit? Who said that you're going to be the savior of Western civilization? Who said that we need saving? Who's asking for help to be saved? Why do you think that we need to be saved? You're not even talking about Britain. You're talking about a whole Europe. Just keep it to Britain. You're doing too much. Like,
it's a desperate search for relevance.
They know that Kemi doesn't know who she is. That's why he said that. Kemi's not going to get the respect that she deserves if she's throwing her own people under the bus.
Well, there are many things that the British Empire got wrong, but there are many amazing things that the British Empire also did. And we need to be honest about that and stop pretending that it was all bad. The British Empire ended slavery, the Atlantic slave trade. We need to talk about that more.
So she's saying, don't focus on the negatives, focus on the positives. So she's saying, don't focus on the idea that people were taken from their land, taken away from their culture, taken away from their spiritual system, taken away from their history, cut off from all of that, taken to another land, whipped at a post, hung on a tree, burnt at a stake, ripped apart by horses, made the boys bang their mothers so that they can breed them, made them less than a human, made them work for free and not get compensated for that. So you ask the British public, generally they don't agree that black people should be paid reparations. Without any good reason, they don't agree with it. They'll try to say there were benefits from it. You should be grateful for that to happen. They'll say you should be grateful for that to happen. Look at the benefits that you got out of it, huh?
I grew up, as many of you know, I grew up in a Commonwealth country. Many people in those countries don't actually carry the baggage that a lot of the left-leaning commentariat want to put on our country. We need to look at how we can help other countries develop as best as they can. We did a lot to help many of those countries. We can do more again. I would like to see that. But the answer is definitely not reparations.
Okay, there we are.
All right, so why would they even ask that question? They're always looking for a black person to validate their own views about colonialism. They want to feel good about colonialism. They want to make excuses for it. They want to justify it. They want to defend it. And it's always good when you can get a black person to agree with you that slavery, colonialism, apartheid, there were benefits that came out of it for the British Empire. And so therefore, in a way, you're suggesting that it's justified, for example. It's sad because Kemi, if she was there at the time in Nigeria, when the colonialists came over or when the enslavers came over, she would have been enslaved or she would have felt the effects of that colonization being a black woman from Nigeria, for example. And I think there you can see that on both parents' faces basically when she says that both parents are going to support their child. However, I'm not convinced that mum is fully convinced with that answer. I don't think that mum's fully happy with that answer, to be honest. But anyway, you got to do what you got to do for your boo-boos.
Should we be embarrassed about our colonial past?
No, we don't need to be embarrassed about our colonial past. Every country in the world at one point or another either colonized or attempted to colonize another group of people. This is the past. We need to talk about the future. There are many countries now who want to use guilt to try and exploit the UK. They ask for reparations. I saw it as a trade minister. It's not culture wars. I was at the WTO. I won't name the minister from another country. And he was telling me that we needed to give up some of the things that we were doing because of colonialism and because they needed time to develop. These arguments are a scam. Don't fall for it. We need to make sure that we put this country first. We work well with our neighbours. We work well with other countries, but we have to look after ourselves too.
They only asked her, should we be embarrassed? She didn't have to go all the way to say other countries have tried to colonize other countries. So therefore, in a way, you're saying it's justified. It's ludicrous because we stopped it and we're advocating on behalf of it. There were benefits that came out of it. That excuses me for paying for the crime. It excuses me from being penalized. It excuses me from having to acknowledge that it was a crime, an atrocity, and that I have to pay for it. That's what I'm saying when she says she's throwing black people under the bus. Let me know what you think. Is Kemi on another level? The idea that people, if they work for free, should be compensated for it. Is Kemi searching for relevance, a desperate search for relevance? Keir Starmer is making it clear. Yo, people, I'm out. It's your boy Midnight. See you in the next one.
Conservatives are the guardians of Western civilization. How you defend Western civilization? Western civilization is in crisis. The West has given the world amazing ideas and values of Western history and even its culture as an embarrassment of the West's legacy. So let's remember what we are defending here. Not just our wealth, but the West. Millions of people all around the world want to live in the West. However, some of them will undermine the West. We have a crisis, just like the West. Our country is not racist. Our country and all of Western civilization will be lost. Some cultures are better than others. Start fighting for the West.
She's appointed herself, I think, saviour of the Western civilization. It's a desperate search for relevance.